Hello, I'm Lewis Holman, and during my year on placement at ESPN, I saw and learnt a lot of different things. I documented some of the city's biggest riots and protests. I became Atmosphere's unofficial coffee connoisseur, and I even discovered the gym. But in my final week, running on about 2 hours sleep, I watched a little known sport known as Roundnet, also known as Spikeball. A few weeks on, and I'm still fascinated by the sport. I needed to reach out to an expert, so I contacted Scott Beeks, a Spikeball ambassador, to find out more. This is Spikeball Explained. Hello everyone, I'm Lewis Holman, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Scott Beeks. Scott is an NCAA Division 1 athlete in football/soccer. He is an ambassador for Spikeball. He runs international Roundnet, which is all about the community of Spikeball, and he's an all-round decent guy. So Scott, welcome. How you doing, man?
Thanks. Everything was right about that statement, other than the last bit. But it's good to be here. It's good to be here.
It's a very broad question here, but what is Spikeball?
Well, Spikeball is actually the company that is sort of the biggest company within Roundnet. So the sport is actually called Roundnet, but the main manufacturer and the main company within the sport is called Spikeball. So most people usually refer to the sport as Spikeball because the first instance or the first relationship they have with the sport is through Spikeball. So many people do call it Spikeball, but officially it is called Roundnet.
Okay, so in Roundnet then, what equipment do you need? If you're very, very basic, me and 3 friends, we want to go play Roundnet. What do we need to get started?
Okay, well, you're gonna need a Roundnet set. There's several companies, obviously Spikeball being one of them, Bamboo, Zero Bounds, a couple of others, but it's pretty much, think of a trampoline but on 5 legs. So I mean, loads of people call it like a bouncy mat. They've never seen it before, but it is pretty much just a net spread across a rim, a circular rim, with 5 legs to support it. And it's basically volleyball, but with it being a trampoline on the floor instead of hitting it over a net.
So I played Spikeball once, and it would hit and miss for me in terms of ability. But what kind of skills do you need? Because it's a lot more physical than I was expecting.
Well, I mean, the big perk around it is that it's 360, so it's a lot of area to cover. So it is a lot more running than most people think. But the main skills you've got to have is hand-eye coordination. So coming from a sporty background, whether it's volleyball, floorball, handball, anything that's like hand-eye coordinated, even football to some degree, it's like you get a good head start. Guys.
Who's around you at the moment?
Sorry?
Who you got around you at the moment?
I'm like to the side of a disc golf course. I have people playing disc golf to the side of me. But yeah, another niche sport. But anyway, but for Roundnet, you want to have any sort of sporting background. It's already a good start. But the sports like floorball, handball, volleyball is definitely a big help when you come into Spikeball or Roundnet first.
So you play all these different sports. What makes Roundnet in particular like so unique?
Well, I mean, what makes it so unique is the community, and anyone who plays Roundnet will tell you this every single time. The Roundnet attracts a specific type of person. Like, I've never met somebody awful. I've never met like somebody I didn't really like playing Roundnet. It's like it really does attract like sort of an open-minded, sort of sporty, active, quite chill-going person. I mean, because if you're not, you wouldn't get invited to any games because you need 4 players to play Roundnet. So if you're not really an outgoing person, then you probably won't get invited to the next pickup game. So it really does, sort of attract a certain type of person, and that's why I love it so much. I've been able to get so many friends across Europe, in the US, just meet new people. It's like a great barrier to find really people that are like-minded, which I mean, not too many sports are the same.
Leads me on to my next question about the community, because when I went to the London meet, everyone was so nice and welcoming, and I just want to touch on the community in particular, and is that one of the big reasons why you've been so attracted to it?
Yeah, I exactly. The community is just amazing. I mean, it's opened so many doors. I mean, I'm going to be going to Romania later this month through contacts that I've learned through or met through Roundnet. So, I mean, I would never have gone there if I didn't. So, having the opportunity to like meet new people through Roundnet and again, like-minded people, it's just a sport that's very unique. I think because it's such a niche sport, everyone wants to do their best to help grow it. And I mean, then it feels like everyone's fighting the same sort of battle. It's not as if like football where it's so generic, it's so mainstream, where everyone's just doing their own thing.
You mentioned the battle there. I mean, and the rallies can get really intense. What's going through your head when you're in a really intense rally?
Don't mess it up. Don't be the one that doesn't get it back on the net. Either be the one that ends it with like an amazing put away or an amazing hit or a great set. Don't be the one that hits it on the rim or misses the net or does a really bad set. Yeah, a really bad set, because you don't want to be the one that messes it up. Because you know when it's a good rally, when you're halfway through the point, you're thinking someone's going to put this online, or this is going to go somewhere, or this is going to be on like an Instagram page, it's going to be on a TikTok. So you don't want to be the one that looks bad when it gets published later on that day.
So you played Roundnet across the world. How big is sport growing? Because it's more and more you see it across different languages now. I mean, how big is the sport growing?
I'd say it's growing massively every year. I'm obviously a little bit biased and a bit of an insider because I'm always like linked to a lot of communities around the world. But I mean, just look at London, for example. I remember I was in London last year around August, September time, and I played, and there was like, it was about 8 to 15 people that I play or met with over a month's period of time. And now they have a WhatsApp group of over 200 people in. I mean, and that's in 1 year and just in London. So I hope that sort of says how big the community and how big Roundnet as a sport is growing. But in the US, it's been big for quite a long time and it's continually growing. But in Europe, over the last 2 years, it's grown massively, pretty much everywhere. Any country, any capital city, you want to type in on Instagram, you'll find a Roundnet page, I'm sure.
So where do you see Roundnet going in the future? Because it just seems to be going up and up and up with more exposure. I mean, it's a niche sport, but very soon it could be very well into the mainstream.
Yeah, well, the plan is for Roundnet to be at the Olympics, and they've already took the first steps to try and get it to the Olympics. So, I mean, hopefully within 8 to 12 years, it will be an Olympic sport. So that is the future where I see it. And a lot of people within Roundnet see it too. In 8 years, I might be past my best, so I'm not sure it will suit me. But there's Worlds next year, which is going to be the first ever World Tournament with all countries invited, as long as they have an organization, and that's going to be absolutely huge in Belgium next year in September. But yeah, there is no limits. I don't know. I could see it becoming the Olympics in the next 8 years, and I think that's the true success. Then it will become more of a mainstream sport. But hopefully, as it becomes mainstream, it won't lose this community feeling, because that is how it's got so popular and how it's growing so quickly now.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Scott. And if the people at home want to check out more of your content, keep up to date with what you're doing in the world of Roundnet and otherwise, where can they find you?
Yeah, mainly you on Instagram at international_Roundnet. And then I also put a little bit on my obviously own handle, which is just Scott Beats.
Fantastic, Scott. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, it was great. I can talk about Roundnet all day, so it was fun. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, that wraps things up for today's episode. Thank you so much to Scott for speaking to me. And if you want to check out the full interview, the link is down below. Go check it out in all its glory. Talk about a whole range of things. But that's it from me today. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.